true source information, consciousness as we speak of, can come in any form you want that gives you high ascension access, true access. If you are the field, you can get direct source information. Welcome to the Consciousness of the Way. My divine, delectable co-host, High Priestess Jade.
Hello, friend.
Hello, friend.
Hello, bestie.
Hello, bestie. And I am your humble servant and seafood Taoist master, Son Quinn.
You threw me off there.
Yeah. Well, what another amazing day in paradise.
Mm-hmm.
All things, everything, as is, as it should be. Whew. Talking about frequencies. Frequencies, vibrations, energy is what we always talk about, you know, diving deeper into that as sacred shapes, sacred numbers, sacred symbols, sacred words, all the things that we speak of that are integrated deep within your DNA. You know, giving you the access point to create the mastery. I find it always interesting when we go, you know, as everything is energy, frequency, vibration. Today's a great day for that, you know. The portal that we're opening up that will blow your socks off, ladies and gentlemen and ladies. But again, I mean, you know, you look at all the basics of people getting you to understand the simple framework of like a manifestation. Everything has a frequency. So, you know, if you want money, vibrate at that frequency. And I think the biggest misconception is, well, Sifu, how do I do that? Mm-hmm. Do I need to do this? How am I going? How do I acquire this frequency to obtain the moolah, or whatever it is that you desire within your wildest imagination? It all is energy, frequency, vibration.
It is, and it is. I mean, we've had an amazing week, an interesting week, and I think people kind of like look at this thing and go like, oh, nothing must ever go wrong for you, or everything is perfect, or you just live this charmed life. And it's true, we do. Mm-hmm. And that's not to say we don't go through other experiences that other people have. It's just, it's how you deal with it and how you perceive it and how you approach it. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, I kind of look at it like a sports team. Like, you never know how good a sports team is until they play like the highest competitor. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If they played, you know, League D teams every time, well, of course. But it's like you really show who you are, provide what you've trained, your training, your learning, your mastery, when you go up against that competition where it's like, whew, that was a tough game. And guess what? We won, we smashed it, we killed it, we're champions. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of a very similar thing. If you don't go through these experiences, or they're not even bad, they're just different experiences, you're not able to use all the things you've been learning, practicing, evolving from, to be like, wow, you know what? That was interesting, but guess what? I smashed it. I got through that.
Yeah. It's as we always remind everyone, it's your perception. Mm-hmm. I've come across a lot of interesting people. Energies. But, you know, especially recently, as we're acquiring more people on, you know, finding more opportunities to, you know, document people's experiences, how mm-hmm. they how they shift and acquire their consciousness. There seems to be this interesting consensus with most people that there's only one God. And this is interesting to me because when you understand the fundamentals, like I repeat over and over again, consciousness is, I sit at one end of the table, you sit at the other. When you're acquiring that state that is pliable, creative, healing, that would be referred to 5D. There above, beyond time and space, understanding that, this is the space that you create affect a change. Now, I'm hearing so much more of this. Well, it's this way I can see the reality. You come out here and this happens, and this is the truth because I've experienced it.
It is. It's kind of unique how consciousness in this space is almost like one of the most limited spaces.
Well, look, I'm going to give you an example. I briefly spoke on it before. So for me to shift in many, many decades ago when I first started this stuff, there's a process of ascension to activate a level of consciousness. And so, like anything, you perceive there's an ascension process because, you want to heighten your consciousness. You assume practically that means going up. And so we understand that. What I came to acquire through this shift almost instantaneously decades ago was, I was taught that I needed to slowly acclimatize myself to a higher frequency and higher energy to obtain this, ascension level of enlightenment. Truth be known to myself, in my own experience, that I could acquire that state in this 3D reality with my eyes open, everything being pliable and tangible instantaneously. And people are like, that's ridiculous. I don't see you levitating, or your eyes aren't fluttering, or you're not being flip-flopping across the side of the room, or, there's a frequency, vibration, and energy that is traveling through my physical body right now that would be equivalent to a hurricane. Yet, because of the way that I align myself with those frequencies, I'm able to receive and I'm able to obtain this consciousness without what you would consider a disturbance. So it's sort of like expansive, like right now, expanding. And as people will understand, they can feel the density of the room just by me saying that. All of a sudden, the walls drop away, and everything is just space. And when I say space, I'm talking universe. Now, this is, again, how I've acquired my consciousness. And now for me to shift to that higher level, and people can feel that at home here in the room, you feel this temperature shift from me to move to that higher level. What I've discovered through my own journey is, a lot of people call this out-of-body experiences. Taoists do it better than anybody when it comes to spirit projection, baby. You want to call it some fancy name of out-of-body experience. I'm experiencing sleep paralysis, whatever it is that you think that you're acquiring, and this is your entry point to all things and all knowing, is your entry point, and I absolutely appreciate that. But understand this, know this to be true. Everyone has their own angle of consciousness. And when you get a real handle of it, there's a million different ways to access this conscious level and to make it pliable. And so, you have these entry points. Spirit projection for a Taoist is quite simple. We use it all day, every day. If it's in the martial form, we've already applied whatever execution that is for a decimation of an opponent, i.e., whoever within the martial form. And so from a visual effect, you will see your body step out of your body. Let me repeat that one more time. Your body step out of your body, and you're now on the other side of the room. Like, and for me, I can drop it out. And so what most people want to attest to is, well, that's not possible for you. That means that you're not there. No. Has anyone ever experienced like what they would call emotional chords? So remember, everything is interconnected. Mm-hmm. So my spirit body, my energy body, my physical body is all interconnected. When you understand that, you wire that, you can be out of your physical body and still be highly aware of your spirit and your physical body at the same time. They're all interconnected. But a lot of people have got this it's almost like a Hollywood fantasy about how they do it. And that, that's great. And it works for them. They've seen enough Hollywood movies. They've been programmed that this is how they're supposed to obtain it. And they obtained that space. For me, popping out of my physical body with my eyes open is another day in paradise. Moving around the room, as I can move around the room right now, and be looking at myself, sitting here talking to you in the camera, and I'm on the other side of the room. What? It sounds kind of bizarre. What are you talking about? No, not at all. But understand that pliability. Like, you can feel the energy. So just as my spirit is now moving around the table, coming back around this way, heading towards me, walking into my field right now, and entering back into my body. Now, Jade can attest to a very weird rippling effect of energetics in the space, whether you can see with your naked eye or not. This is what's happening. Now, this is an interesting thing because you have a level of clarity. And so then we have this, so this, let's get the spirit body thing out of the way. Now we're talking about information. Now, right down to the basic science, quantum physics, of how you connect yourself to the frequencies of the universe. I can give you step-by-step of how entanglement works, and then understanding accessing zero-point energy being chi. And then also, what does that mean? Information, all things. Now, I got news for you guys. I guess consciousness woke up one day and said, I'm only being received under the sexy title of ancient Egyptian ancient text, and it comes in the form of the halls of Lamente and Akashi records. There's no other way that I've transmuted myself into this realization, and that everyone is going to obtain the only true source information from these two methods. And it's almost like, I just have to say it, it's like kind of delusional that someone can really wrap themselves, and you want to validate this, and I validate that whoever it is that's experiencing what they're experiencing to obtain their level of consciousness is valid. But once again, I'll repeat myself. If you dismiss someone else's belief system, you dismiss your own. So, in a nutshell, if I was to look at something like Halls of Lamente or Akashi records, I'm probably not even pronouncing it correctly, but quite frankly, that's okay. The truth is, this is an access point. Once you access the field, which is all-knowing, you can paint it any way you want it. What's the old expression? Paint a pig any color you want. It's still a pig. And so how would that be relevant to this is true source information, consciousness as we speak of, can come in any form you want that gives you high ascension access, true access. If you are the field, you can get direct source information. And so then there's a rippling effect that people need to understand from a personality perspective, that you're just reading the information from someone's field. And that, that's so difficult. No, it's not. I can teach people, I do teach people all day long how to access and read someone's aura. Understand that anyone can do any of this stuff. It's a level of consciousness, but we will always repeat ourselves. You must feel it. That's why that's why this physical body, this flesh and blood is so critical to your experience, because if you're outside of this, the transmuted effects of physical, energetic, spiritual body, all interconnected, transmute into the simulation that you're experiencing once your spirit steps outside of the physical body. And so the whole point of, I need a certain access point, well, I've seen it, so that's true. It's true to you.
Right.
That's where it starts and ends. Oh, but I've used a special method. I'm in sleep paralysis, so I'm really out of my body. So that's it.
It's like all the singing show competitions,
right?
Like American Idol or The Voice or any of those they kind of just bring on normal people, what they like to consider normal people, and they're like blown away. Oh my God, you have such an incredible voice. How come you haven't been discovered yet? And it's like, wait a second, who said that if you're not on the radio, that means you don't have a good voice, or
right.
like you haven't, like right. You're not successful as a right. singer or something. And it's kind of the same kind of thing.
Perception.
Exactly. And it's like, just because someone doesn't play in the NBA doesn't mean they're incredibly talented at basketball. Just because someone doesn't sing on the radio doesn't mean they don't have a like earth-shaking, chilling voice that will move you the second they open their mouth.
Right.
Just because, an artist hasn't made it mainstream yet doesn't mean that they aren't one of the most talented people you've ever seen.
Right.
And there is kind of this idea that like, oh, well, if you don't go in through the front door where everyone's supposed to go in, then you haven't leveled up your consciousness yet.
And that, and that's the misconception, because you have everyone with their own perspective. The most important thing is realize I've been doing this decades. There's an infinite amount of energy, frequencies, vibrations, spirits, entities, infinite. And so you want to just give yourself, this is the true way, the only way. It's transmuted. So consciousness said, oh, I woke up and went, the only way you're going to get real source information from me is if I am the Akashic Records. I'm sorry, but no. This is one access point. This is what you have validated as your experience to make it real to you. And I value that. But also understand that my access point doesn't gravitate or resonate with Akashikaki, whatever the hell it is. That's not for me. I have many lives before this rippling effects into deep Taoist practices as past priests up until this point. It's in my DNA. I resonate with it on all different types of levels, as should you with whatever it is that you experience. You need to resonate with whatever it is that you resonate with. That's why we always talk about the feeling, the neurological effect that takes place that validates it to you. Forget about being inside your head. You get right down to the brass tacks. And so there's a huge understanding that, this big movement that everyone's having with certain types of ancient text or scripture or whatever, that's true to you, brother. And you've come to that realization, and that's profound. But that doesn't mean it's my realization.
Right. And your validation doesn't devalue my validation.
No.
Everything can be validated in its own self to you,
It's all
to someone else's. So I kind of feel like it is, though. It's like, oh, well, my validation, because it's mine, somehow that devalues yours.
Right,
it's like,
right,
no, not at
right,
all.
right.
Everything can be validated
Right.
in its own perspective. That is consciousness.
Right, right.
That is your truth as you know it.
And that's why I kind of dig, listening to some people's perceptions of their reality. Not some people, everyone. I mean, I always invite anyone on the podcast. And, whether you're a hypnotist or a mentalist or a psychic or a medium, whatever you call a magician, whatever you call yourself, I find the most interesting integration would probably be an illusionist or a mentalist, because they have such a deeper understanding of those trance-like states, which if you talk to a hypnotist or a mentalist, they're just like, oh yeah, that's just how the human being operates.
Doesn't everyone know that?
Don't you know that? It's like conscious and unconscious stuff. You want to access the consciousness of the unconscious, you do this and you get this prescribed response, and you put in this information and it reveals this. And so mostly when you're talking to illusionists, magicians, hypnotists, whatever, they're very a matter of fact about these types of mechanisms. They're not really invested in it other than it's a mechanism, as opposed to, wow, that's incredible. Mm-hmm. Because they've also got their own perception of their reality and they're framing it a certain way. So just accessing someone's consciousness to evoke a brainwave that gets you in a state where, all of a sudden you'll do something instantaneously may work for them, and then you won't have them effectively get into a higher level of ascension or consciousness for another reason, due to their belief system, which is really, that's what it all starts and ends with. What is the truth to you? Your truth is the only truth you need to be concerned with. And that is the foundation and the rippling effects of how you simulate your reality. And so this is the thing that is really interesting, because, when we do stuff, we're talking about how we access your higher level of consciousness to obtain direct source information. This goes beyond the simplicity of just enveloping a low-level trance for, something that might be on a hypnotist level. This is high-level spiritual ascension, which most of them wouldn't even believe in.
Mm-mm. They're kind of like mechanical versus like spiritual, where it's just like, 2 + 2 = 4. You know what I mean? Versus the spiritual aspect of really kind of tapping into that. Right.
And, and there's no right or wrong. Mm-hmm. They're using their own. But understand that, it's a level of awareness.
Yes.
That's it. Beginning to end. That's it. And when people start to understand this, we use ancient text, ancient words, ancient numbers, ancient sounds to integrate deep within your neurology to evoke your high level of consciousness. Our stuff is on a different level because it's backed by thousands of years of ancient ritual and practice within Taoism. Everyone has their own gateway. And so the most important thing is to realize that your perception, your truth is the only truth you need to be concerned with, and everything else will roll out the way it should. But, you are 1 second away from being realized in any way, shape, or form. Your ability to access and to affect change, manifestation, magic, healing is by you. It is limited by you. So we go to the fastest track way for you to realize how powerful you are. And that's why we use a visual audible experience, creating the kinesthetic response, the validator, which evokes the brainwaves that gives you complete coherence, making you realized as the field, instantaneously accessing that 0 point energy, which is manifestation time, magic time, healing time. This is the reality. That's the truth. And they're just basic mechanisms of energetics. Once you start leveling up on that, all bets are off. and you'll see things that go beyond your wildest imagination because you're able to access.
Yeah, and I think that is a really powerful thing. A lot of people, they kind of have found it within themselves, which is amazing. And then sometimes when they go to transfer that to somebody else, they hit a little bit of a roadblock. It worked for me and my brother, but my mom no, she's not on the same page. She doesn't do it. It doesn't work for her. It doesn't work for my friend. And like with what we've created, with everything we know about the energetics, it's like this works on anyone.
Well, yeah. I mean, and what a great point Jade made, because when she mastered the cells, the 50 trillion cells in this manifestation of what you realize is the holograph of who you think you are, all bets are off, because that's how you can validate your level of consciousness, when you can shift and transmute that energy any way you want within the physical body, outside of the physical body, into the field, manifest a distant healing, manifest magic, whatever it is, and have it realized. Because confirmation is gold, baby.
Yeah, I always think of the car analogy. We always talk about that. But it's like the difference between like you having a Lamborghini and like letting your friend drive it versus like we just give everybody a Lamborghini. We're just like, here, you take your own, you take your own, you take your own, you take your own, you get two, and like enjoy it instead of having people line up and being like, drive mine. It's not mine, it's yours now. You pick whatever color you want, the speed you want to go, the how you want to shift it, how you want to drift it, and whatever you want. I just give it to you.
And that's the thing that's really valid for what Jade said. Understand this: you can create the framework that is hard or easy. So if you come from a place where I need a certain this, that, something else, and then it will only be realized this way, we always remind you can be realized instantaneously. That means if you constantly allow yourself and remind yourself to remember who you really are, you can acquire it right now. You don't have to wait another second, another minute, another hour. It's yours for the taking, or yours for the knowing.
And we get people share those stories all the time, which is fantastic. You know, it's the level of excitement is the same for someone who just realized and took a baby step, and someone who just realized and flew 1,000 miles in a second. It's so exciting, regardless of where they're progressing. The progression itself is just like, it's like a little gift every time we hear about it. So
right, and that's our focus. Our goal is for you to level up. Anything is possible. Instantaneously access the consciousness that's necessary for you to be the master keeper creator of your reality. And you'll start stacking them up, racking them up, realizing them on a daily, the manifestation, the magic, the healing, and it will just be effortless. It will be limitless. It will be abundant, timeless, endless. All things, the truth to everything. And so the reason I went on that little mini rant was because my personality is a little tired of people telling or morphing or mutating, because what's most important is people listen. So we've never heard of placebo, nocebo. Understand this. Know this to be true. Your unconscious is listening. So I don't operate in this realm with the limitation of fear. But I'm also aware that when someone is coming to Jade and I, and they're on their journey of realizing how much of a badass they are most likely coming from a place of duality. So I am very mindful of how these things are structured. So they're listening, and they need to be aware of how powerful they are. But if they have someone going, no, you can't do this, you can do that. If I had a penny for how many times I hear people go, my mother said I could never achieve anything, I would amount to nothing. And that's literally the dialogue that someone's been operating on throughout their life, and that person, their parent, whatever, their mother, has had zero control over their destiny. They have nursed that one sentence that they heard that's echoed in the back of their mind, that has replicated itself over and over again, only because they've given it energy, they've given it life, they've realized it. So understand this. I always remind people, you can be realized as the baddest mofo ever in seconds, just by making it so, by saying it so. And that's why, and I'll say it again, when someone has their perception of their reality, and this is how I access real true source information, and it goes through the holes of la mente, the Akashic record. I say this over and over again because right now there's a huge rippling effect. So many people are talking about this as an access point, and I'm excited about it. I could talk to you with a dozen friends that are aware of this and they use that. That's your bag, baby. That's what you do. I use the Tao. Now, we use the tools of the Tao to help people acquire their own access. And whatever that access is not for me to tell you. It's for you to decide. All we do is fire up your energetic body and have it connect with the physical and spiritual body. The rest of it is you go to town. You realize whatever your access point is. That's it. So, you know, enough of this limiting somebody by you telling them that this is the only way it's going to happen, which is the biggest misconception, because it can happen anyway. You could literally get up and walk to the bathroom, trip, and be realized. That's simple, because it just takes a thought, feeling, and an emotion. And all that stuff has a rippling effect. So know this to be true. There is no limit to what is possible. And there's no limit to you. You are all-knowing. And all we're doing is reminding you of that. Reunited and it feels so good. That's it. That's all we're doing, is getting you back to where you were, where you have been, what you always have known. And there's like this deception over time that has sort of separated you from that, making you thinking and not knowing. And that's the misconception. And so this will be my last rant on this, but I've just come across it a lot. And that's okay. And their way is their way, and I appreciate their way. It's just not my way. You know, there are fundamentals that Taoists have nurtured over tens of thousands of years within this lifetime that have created the incredible rituals and energetics that we are second to none to, that I share with anybody. I couldn't care less what your belief system is, as long as you believe in something. All I'm doing is applying these ancient rituals to your experience so you can fire up that bad boy and you can get whatever it is that you want, you desire, and have it realized and manifested into your life right now. And that's the beauty of it. So we need to just, what's the old expression? Can't we all just get along? Mm-hmm. Because there is no right or wrong way. And that's the part where a lot of people can't digest Taoism. We accept and allow everything. We just put out a 72-hour challenge, I think, and a lot of people were very responsive, like, holy crap, I never thought about it like that. Because that's the magnitude of building on things, even from a fractal perspective. People are like, fractals, what are you talking about? That's just a pattern. And like, yeah, well, what do you think your Groundhog Day that you have, where you realize your life is miserable? It's a pattern that you keep repeating, and you can synchronize it and literally work it right down to a certain day, time, or hour, only because you believe it. Know that, you know, if you don't believe in karma, or you are no longer in a duality, then duality will not, you will not operate in that. It's up to you. The seed of your creation comes from you. That's it.
Yeah, no, that was people were really excited about that.
They are excited. They're excited to do it. And,
yeah.
And it's like it's an infectious thing, because
it
builds on itself. 1 hour turns into 5, turns into 10 turns into a day. That's the power that we speak of, because the bigger you build on it, one positive equals another positive equals another positive. And this is all within a framing of duality. But once you culminate the positive and negative, the yin and yang, the good and bad, and you realize that it is all things being one with everything, that's just your reality all day, every day.
Yeah.
Effortless action, Wu Wei. That's what we talk about. That's what we live by. As a Taoist, we live by that.
Yeah. Well, it's just like when you adopt a lifestyle versus like a diet. After a while, you feel so good. You're like, this isn't a diet anymore. This isn't, fasting or whatever you want to call it. It's just my lifestyle now. And same thing with the 72-hour challenge. It's like, it no longer turns into 72 hours. You're like, this is just my life now. It's just, everything flows. I don't even feel the need to complain. I don't feel the need to be stressed. I don't feel the need to react. I'm just living and I'm loving it. And it's, just effortless. It's easy. It's everything I always
Effortless
wanted.
action. Right. So I just wanted to clear that up, because a lot of people, you should never, ever be limited. And this is something that's like, it's not a fake it till you make it, ladies and gentlemen and ladies. Be very clear about that, because your construct of your reality is framed in your belief system. Your belief system is framed in what you validate as real or not. Starts and ends with you. So when we talk about placebo, nocebo, it's all got to do with, do you believe in it? They don't put placebo trials in every single medical trial, and they don't want to validate that, but the truth is the power of your intention is
The highest.
100 times more powerful than any drug that you could ever ingest, because it's some external man-made limited receptor activator that you take into this soft technology, this perfection. And then it is realized by a gene expression, only because that's how it's constructed to evoke that response. Whereas this soft technology is realized instantly as whatever you want it to from here. And the way that you train in this so you can do it at will is the feeling. And so once you fire that energetic body up, there's no turning it off. And it gets stronger and 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 stronger. So, whatever way it is that you find your high level of consciousness, that you are able to obtain a view of reality that is yours, and confirmation of whether it's true or not is your experience. Confirmation of whether it's true or not is what you do with it. That's for you to discern, for you to decide. It's not for anyone to decide. What you experience is your experience. What your truth is your truth.
Yeah. And I think that is a really important thing too. I know initially when we first met, I struggled a lot with feeling like I was a different person for different people. Oh, I'm a daughter, I have to act a certain way. I'm a student, I have to act a certain way. I'm an athlete, I have to act a certain way. I feel this way. And it was like, well, who is this real person, and who am I really just for myself? And I think that is a really good understanding, that it's like, you don't just tell yourself what you want to hear, but you tell yourself the truth. So like,
that's a lesson learned by Lao Tzu.
Yeah,
Lao Tzu teaches us that every day. Powerful. It's a very valid lesson. It's like, I'll repeat what Jade said. Don't tell yourself what you want to hear. Tell yourself the truth. What? Sifu, what do you mean? That is the first point of healing, is being accountable for your behavior. And that's the separation between conscious and unconscious that Jade is about to talk on.
Yeah, no, and I do. And I think that for me was such a good understanding of, if it's like, if you are an angry person and you constantly go, I'm not an angry person, I'm not an angry person, I'm not an angry person, you're not giving yourself that opportunity to like deal with that, change that, realize that. And when you really start to like go, hey, you know what? Maybe I am an angry person. And instead of judging myself based off of that's a bad thing, it's just a starting point for me to go, okay, this is something I don't like, or this is something that it's not valuable in my life. Let's change it. Instead of, feeling this like, oh, I have to act a certain way because, that's what my parents have taught me, or I have to fit into society a certain way. I have to be a certain way. This is my religious ideas, even though I don't connect with it. You really have to, like you said, the first point of healing is being accountable and being like, hey, and it can be as simple as this is just something that doesn't resonate with me, and let's figure out how to, or something, I always say it's something I don't value, and let's heal from it, remove it, and then move on to what it is that I really do value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jade makes a very valid point. It's like, it's not about a judgment of yourself. It's about, in your wet ass hour, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's like when you become razor focused and hyper and you get super angry and then you lose your cool and snap at somebody, and then after the fact you come down off the high and then you come back in your body as we would explain it, and then you're like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Oh, yes you did. yeah you meant to say it. You had a choice right at the moment that you said it, and you said, I like it. You chose that. I like it. And so that validation, you start to self-regulate. You regulate yourself just by coming to that realization. And the more and more conscious you get by using the Way 126 experience, it envelops the brain and activates the gamma frequency, which makes you access theta and alpha all at once, so that you're able to be pliable, creative, and highly conscious instantly, making you coherent, connecting you with the universe and the earth, and you become that manifester, magic, healing, master, keeper, creator of your reality instantaneously.
Yeah. And nobody, deep down, I think everyone kind of realizes like nobody knows you better than you. So it's like your parents, your friends, your coworkers, anyone going, oh, you really need to stop that. That's a bad behavior. Or that, do you really want to act like that? Nobody knows you better than you. You know yourself the best. You're with your thoughts the most. And it's like, that's who you need to be accountable for. It's not anybody else or anyone else's judgment. And most of the time you'll find too that you're like, oh my goodness, I thought I had to act a certain way to fit into a certain thing. And then you start being who you are. And these people are like, this is amazing. You've changed, you've grown, you've this. And you're like, wait, didn't you want me to be this person? And they're like, no, I've never thought that. Half the time it's just the stories you're creating, not the judgment from other people.
Right. And that creativity starts and ends with you. Mm-hmm. And so when we have an access point, consciousness, again, will remind you, is just a ball in your hand. And Jade's sitting over there looking at the ball with a certain angle. I'm sitting over here looking at a ball with a certain angle. And they're who's right, her or myself? Both of us. And that's where it begins and ends. And you just you have a different angle. Everything is individual signature, frequency, energy, vibration. Nothing is the same. Everything is unique to you. But the collective is, we're all interconnected to that. So we all have our own seat at the table to look at this ball. And none of the viewpoints are wrong or right. They just are. And that's one of the most powerful parts of consciousness, is realizing that we all got it.
Yeah. And everybody, again, just like you said, your way doesn't devalidate my way, doesn't mean it's better than my way. It's like everybody has a way. Everybody has, you know,
The way.
no, yeah, I was gonna say it's like, you know, what's that saying? Like everybody's got an asshole, you know. It's like, but it kind of is, you know what I mean? It's like that doesn't mean that you're better than me. It's everyone has their own perspective. Everybody has their own ideas and consciousness, and to dismiss somebody else's in that aspect just because you found something that totally works for you is amazing. But to dismiss someone else's, you just don't have to. Everyone has it. Everybody has the ability for it. And, you know, we come from the perspective of uplifting people and letting them know, yes, you have it. You're no different than me. I am not, you know, the holy chosen one or the prophet, the Messiah. No, not at all. It's like I found an access point, and guess what? I want to share how amazing it is with you, and I want you to find your own access point. And it's like, here's the tools. Enjoy.
That's right. And so, you know, getting into those states is just a consciousness level. That's it, beginning and end. And so,
and it's fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like I can't help but think about it and like not have a smile on my face, or like not be excited. It's
yeah. I mean, it's profound because you come home full circle in realizing that everything is interconnected, and when you can access the energy again, you want for nothing. And that's one of the biggest takeaways about, you know, what we offer. And so, you know, when we're talking about specific portals, I've had many subscribers on recent podcasts. Could we do a little exercise at the end of every podcast, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, the portal that did you put together the other day was so crazy." Well, I've got another one coming for you. And so that instantaneously, just me talking about it, the rippling effects, because I'm so in tune with just the frequency. You feel it, Jade feels it, the audience feels it, and that's the power of you. You're all light, baby. That's it. And yeah, but you know, a lot of people were using it to obtain a healing, sleep, focus, whatever it is. Because that's just what it is. It's instant access, and they can access it. Once it's rippled out, it is instantaneous.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. And it is. I mean, we were just watching this documentary the other day, and it was talking about a study about how because within yourself, just like we say, your spirit is within your body, it's within your blood, it's controlling everything. It's a soft technology. And they were saying that the way they figure out like organ transplants or blood transfusions, any type of thing where you're taking someone else's body parts, tissue, I don't know what basically anything from somebody else and transmitting it into another person. The thing they look at is the compatibility. How much, and I always just thought it was kind of curious, like how do you decide like this person gets a heart transplant? And it's a compatibility of how closely connected is basically the blood, the culture, that in essence that person's spirit to be accepted by this other, you know, be put in and used as it. And I think that's just so fascinating that, you know,
well, once
people don't realize like that, like even when it's out of you, it's still in you. It's a part, you know what I mean? Like it still has a signature. Your signature is valid within it.
And when you unlock that you are me, I am you, then it's all one, you know. So, you know, when we talk about Taoism's ancient rituals, and specifically for Taoists, we use a lot of star stepping. So we use the constellations as access points as we do the universe. But specifically when we use those constellations to activate a grid, just like you can feel it right now, because those constellations are super powerful, my friend. And, you know, I'm going to, you know, probably momentarily activate a constellation. I'm not even going to mention the name of it, but I'm going to activate that constellation within a portal here, and we can all experience the rippling effects of that as you're experiencing it right now. Just
I
by
already
me,
am.
you know, and I'm just thinking about that constellation. I'm not going to mention what the name of it is, because part of the training that we put you guys through is experiential. That, you know, you will experience it before I even say it, because that's how in tune the frequencies are. And so you're like, hang on a second, I'm feeling some crazy stuff over here, and Sifu hasn't said anything because it's already realized.
Yep.
And so understanding how powerful that is, and that, so your entry point is for you. This is just an access point for some super duper juice up in here. So I think that that's most important over reflecting over what we've talked about today, is understanding that there is no right or wrong way for you to realize your consciousness. Your way is the way. It's like, you know, what's that song? I'll do it my way. I've always... I can't remember the rest of it, but I think it was Frank Sinatra that sung that song, and I thought that was pretty cool. Anyway, that was
Star stepping.
Yeah, and so for Taoists, we star step, and you know, it's a fundamental understanding of the constellations, because within, you know, ancient Taoist you know, astronomy, we use 28 constellations, which is really 27, but it's a misdirection of many different things to realize that you double and triple up on one constellation that is realized. But it sounds even more sexy when we say 28. But, you know, we move in nines, so that doesn't make sense to anyone that really understands the power of the number 9. So 27, which is really 28, which is really 27, which is really whatever you want it to be. Not really, but anyway, that rippling effect of that one constellation will bring that to fruition today, as we can feel that magnitude, right? And it's all just sort of like bubbling up as we speak. We went over a lot today.
Yeah, I think it's just a good understanding and a good reminder.
I mean, and that's it. I want to just remind you guys how you are badass, and that anything is possible. You can do anything. You can be realized instantaneously. There is no limit. There is no one telling you how long you're supposed to take to acquire consciousness, and whatever that consciousness means to you, however you access it, all you need to do is validate it for you. Make it true to you, and that's it. Your truth is the only truth you need to be concerned with. That's it, beginning to end. And so, did you have any closing thoughts or ideas of what we've spoken about today?
Yeah, I mean, that's the most important thing, is not to limit yourself with anyone else's perspective or idea, and also not to feel discouraged if, you know, hey, I've tried this and it didn't work for me. That's not to say that you can't, like you said, be realized, be conscious, be ascending, be, you know, find your spiritual enlightenment. That just didn't resonate with you. You just have to find the thing that does.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And I think with that, we're going to go through this constellation. And so it's going to be a very basic exercise. We like to integrate Qigong and Qigong. And so what's most important about the practice of our Qigong is that these visual effects are realized because you're moving energy with your mind. They become realized in your third eye or with your eyes open, depending upon what level of development you have with your clear senses. That becomes real. And so when I've talked about this, we've ramped it up. It's super dense. Energy's dense in here. we're aware of it. I've already got the constellation wired up, and now I'm just going to frame it out more. And you can drop a sense down just to amplify yourself a little more, create a more refined signature as you experience that energy. As you do experience that energy.
I know.
And if I
have to
just
stop
kind of
staring
like,
at your hands.
like if I move my hand around like this, you can feel the chilling, rippling effects of that energy through your whole cellular body, because that's how powerful it is. And so I have this constellation that I've already activated. And so if I frame it out, and always remember, we can use these as platforms. Now, this portal that I'll be releasing soon will have in-depth instructions on how to construct it, and then how to use it on a daily basis for anything and everything. But, I mean, this constellation I've already activated, and, this is how we attune ourselves, just as we are now. My goodness. And so, any closing words, High Priestess Jade?
I'm already in it.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to have you guys at home close your eyes just drop a sense off. And, as you can tell just by hearing the rippling effects of my voice within your field, within your cells, it's rippling. Now I will evoke and welcome the spirit and energy of the constellation. Oh, yeah. And then I'm just going to draw out the grid. Expand. There you go. Now, this is another power of your energetics. The power of your energetics is instantaneous. So, with that grid expanded right now, oh my goodness, and you are just breathing into it. I don't even need to really tell you. Your energetic body is highly tuned with your physical body, so your respiration is now, completely reflectant on all things, right? So your respiration is now affecting you on a cellular level. So as you breathe in and out, or you listen to my voice, you're feeling the pulsation of it through your physical body. That's just part of the energetics. That's part of the interconnection that we speak of. And we're all realizing it right now. Oh, yeah. Right? And just like Jade, you find that euphoric feeling where you're just compelled to smile, which is part of the effects of how your second dantian opens up, right? And so if we were to just we're going to take 3 breaths in and 3 breaths out, and then you're going to hold it, and you're going to breathe out into your middle dantian, into your heart, okay? You're going to follow my lead in a moment when I say go, and we are going to breathe in. So 3 sips of 3 breaths in through your nose. When you're ready, follow my lead. Hold it. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Oh, yeah. Now, we're going to concentrate that even more in the middle dantian. And if you, in between, we're going to do one more round of that and concentrate that even more, as I can see that the incredibly phosphorus white light, golden white light, is gathering. It's creating density. And it's okay if you're feeling a little, short of breath, because there's so much energy in your heart. There's so much blood pumping into your heart because of the euphoria that you're experiencing. And if you just smile a little bit, it just drops right in there and concentrates. So follow my lead and we'll do one more round. And go. Hold it. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Oh my goodness. That's right. Wow. And this is the effects that are received, and how powerful you are, and how instantly you're able to access that. This is all yours. Gravy, my friend. Smile a little bit. Yeah, that really drops down in the density, right in the heart. Now, just realize that, guys, you're creating that concentration and density, and as it gets brighter and brighter, it's more and more concentrated energy, turning that into a singular, which it is, all-powerful, all-knowing, instantaneously. So we're going to do one more round, then we're going to close it out. Follow my lead in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold it. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Oh, yeah. Now you can use your respiration of your mouth and sort of just breathe in and out through your mouth. And you can feel the heightened sensitivity. And as you do it, you're like that amber of a cigarette as it starts to glow and get brighter through your respiration, and you're rippling that energetic sensitivity, that sensory perception that you're acquiring through this very experience. Oh my goodness. That's right. That's it. There we go. My goodness. And let's just close this out with a little smile. Instantly sinking deeper into that middle dantian. That's all yours, baby. That's your profound, innate source energy, information, light, frequency. It's all yours. Let it sink deep. Activate the first 9 energy centers, first 9 chambers of your middle dantian. My goodness. Just whip it up a little bit. There we go. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. I'm going to leave you with that euphoria. Anyone that can hear me as an echoing voice in the distance, remain where you are, immerse yourself in this level up of consciousness, and for everyone else, slowly climatize yourself back to this space at your own pace, allowing the merging of your conscious and unconscious. And I want to thank my divine, delectable co-host, High Priestess Jade. I am your humble servant and Sifu, Taoist Master San Quinn, and I'll see you on the next one, guys.